Good morning, everyone. Bonjour. I would like to acknowledge that I'm joining you today virtually from the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations. The Treaty 7 region also includes the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. The City of Calgary is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. I would like to honor each of your traditional territories as we come together today for this Line 3 IAMC line-wide gathering. I had sincerely hoped to be joining you in person this morning on the Grey Eagle lands of the Tsuut'ina Nation. It was just recently that I was able to meet with the Line 3 Indigenous Advisory and Monitoring Committee for the first time in person. I was grateful for the opportunity to get to know one another while sharing a meal and participate in a discussion at the committee table. I look forward to connecting with the committee members personally again soon. Today's gathering is a chance to hear about the work of the Line 3 IAMC over the past year. This IAMC brings together Métis and First Nations across the prairies to work with government and the CER to advance our common interests centered on meaningful Indigenous participation in the Line 3 replacement program through enhanced relationships with one another. This meaningful participation of Indigenous peoples in our work is a cornerstone of the CER's reconciliation priority. To me, reconciliation means learning about Indigenous cultures and history, acknowledging and taking ownership of our role in past wrongs, and committing every day to do better going forward. It also means operating more inclusively in how we do our work. At the heart of our mandate is our commitment to safety and protecting the environment. We know we can and need to do things differently, and the work we've been doing with the IAMC and the communities it represents continues to show us what is possible. The CER is transforming the way it works with Indigenous peoples. We are changing the way we work by focusing on relationship building and enhancing the involvement of Indigenous peoples in our oversight as a regulator. We will take the time and steps needed to renew our relationship with Indigenous peoples based on the recognition of rights, respect, cooperation, and partnership. This transformation centers on our commitment to implementing the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Implementing this declaration is embedded in our mandate and affirmed in our newly developed reconciliation statement, which sets out guiding principles and values as we move forward. We recognize that this is a journey towards concrete, systemic, and transformational change in the way we work. This is a journey the CER, and I personally, am deeply committed to. As you know, we have an Indigenous Advisory Committee, or IAC, that provides strategic advice on transforming how we work. I want to take this opportunity to recognize Chief Matthew Pegan and Marcy Riel, who are members of the CER's IAC and also serve as members of the Line 3 Indigenous Advisory and Monitoring Committee. Indigenous community members impacted by Line 3, the federal government, Enbridge, and the CER, we are all changing how we work together to see Indigenous peoples involved in the lifecycle oversight of this project. The IAMC has enabled this change by creating a space for Indigenous voices and perspectives. Working in partnership, we've achieved a great deal over the last 5 years. I am most proud that the work we are doing with this committee is making a practical, tangible difference in how the CER works as a regulator, how the company works, and how the IAMC works as an organization and program. It's a more holistic approach to energy infrastructure oversight. It's enhancing our awareness and understanding of the diversity of Indigenous traditional and cultural worldviews while keeping energy moving safely and protecting people and the environment. A recent example of this is an all-company letter we issued on best practices for notifying Indigenous nations and communities when a reportable incident occurs. This was largely driven by the committee's advice and input from the Manitoba Métis Federation as well as the IAMC for the Trans Mountain Expansion Project. Initiatives like the Onshore Pipeline Regulations Review and updates to the sections of the CER's filing manual are also underway that address some of the recommendations put forward by the committee. Over 40 compliance verification activities with the IAMC Line 3 Indigenous monitors have already taken place, such as inspections and emergency management exercises. As the Indigenous monitoring program evolves, so too will our partnership and focus areas to address matters of importance for communities along the route, such as protection of Indigenous cultural heritage and sites of Indigenous significance. The relationships we have built anchor our work to date and everything we will accomplish together going forward. The CER is grateful to be a part of this committee and for its advice that is driving change. We fully support its renewal and our continued partnership with each of you in protecting Indigenous rights and interests and advancing reconciliation, including the implementation of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Again, my regrets that I'm not able to be there with you today. I wish you all a good and productive gathering. I look forward to hearing the discussions from my colleagues who are participating today and hope to meet with you in person again soon. Thank you. Merci.